Hey guys, welcome to Tech Tips. In my last video, we have already covered functional interfaces, what is predicate, what is function, all those chaining operations with couple of examples. If you haven't gone through my last video, I recommend you to go through that first. In today's video, we are going to cover consumer interface, supplier interface, BiConsumer, BiPredicate, BiFunction interface, and all those relevant chaining operations with couple of coding examples. And at the end, we will conclude of all Java 8 predefined functional interfaces in single slide. So let's get started. So this is the demo of consumer interface. Let me go to the definition of consumer. So consumer is predefined functional interface that resides in java.ut.function package. In consumer, there is one abstract method that is accepting one parameter and returning nothing. And there is one default method that is and then. We know in functional interface there is a condition. Only one abstract method is allowed, but there could be any number of default methods or static methods. So here only one abstract method is there, and there is only one default method, that is and then. So we will cover both of them in our coding example. So this is the very basic example of consumer. Here what we are doing, the consumer, that is show number, we are overriding the accept method that consumer is taking integer value as num, and we are going to show that value num is this. Okay, so let me convert this to lambda expression, so we can write it as well. So to remove this boilerplate code, so now we are calling show num dot accept 100. So we are passing 100, so name is 100, so that consumer is supposed to print 100, so name is 100 is coming. Okay, so now this is another example of consumer. Here we have created list of names. Statically we have added John, Kim, David and Lee, and just printing that name using the stream for each API. This is the consumer modify list that is supposed to get list of string as a input. Here we are passing that list and modifying that list. So each value will be prefixed with Mr. Now there is another consumer display list. Again this consumer is supposed to get list of string as input. We are passing the same, and using the stream API we are just printing out. Now we are going to perform consumer chaining operation. In the chaining operation we use and then. So as the name suggests, first this consumer will execute with accept names, and after that display name should be executed. Okay, so modify list, first execute and modify that list and prefix each name with Mr. And once it is done, then display list will perform the operation on the same name, and the display list is supposed to print the each name one by one. So here you can see in the output list of names John, Kim, David, Lee. After modify list operation, this list is converted into Mr. John, Mr. Kim, Mr. David and Mr. Lee. So this is only supposed to print these values. I hope you understood this. Now we are going to cover supplier. Here supplier, so this is the example of supplier, random number supplier. So let me go to the definition of supplier first. Again supplier reside in this Java util function. This is abstract functional interface with only one abstract method. As the name suggests, supplier is only supposed to return the value. Supplier doesn't take any value. So there is only one abstract method get that is supposed to return one value. Here we are going to cover it. So we have the random number supplier taking nothing because supplier don't take any value and just creating the random number. Now we are calling this supplier using the abstract method get. When we call this method, Let me run this supplier demo. So you'll see one random number will be generated. And this is the second example of supplier using the supplier list. Here we are supplying the list to the caller. Supplier is supposed to return list of integers taking nothing. Just we have created new list, added some value John, Kim, David, Lee, and returning that list who is the caller of this supplier. Now we call the supplier using the get abstract method, and you will see it will be passed John, Kim, David to the caller here. So I hope you understood the supplier one. Now we are going to move BiOperational demo. Here we are going to cover all BiPredicate, BiFunction chaining, BiConsumer and BiConsumer chaining one by one. So this is very important features to be asked in the interview as well. Here BiPredicates. BiPredicates, if we go to the definition of BiPredicates, again this is a functional interface available in Java util function. As the name suggests, bi. So bi means it will take two values as the input. In case of predicate, it takes only one value, but by predicate takes two values. Otherwise, all the definition, perspective, everything is same. So predicate is supposed to return boolean. The same by predicates is also supposed to return boolean. We have couple of default methods in by predicates. So because in the functional interface, any number of default methods we can add or are allowed, but only one abstract method is allowed in this any functional interface. So let me go to this example first. We have the sum greater than 5 by predicates. Here by predicate is taking two values, both are integer, num1, num2. We are just adding it and checking whether it is greater than 50 or not. If it is greater than 50, then it should return true, otherwise false. So similar to normal predicates, by predicate just take two inputs, but the predicate takes only one input. Let me run this one. So you can see we are calling sum greater than 5 dot test. So this test is abstract method. We are passing two values, 30 and 25. The sum of 30 and 25 greater than 50, yes, true. This condition false, true. In case of 10 of 25 greater than 50, no, that should be false. So here this is the example of by predicates. Now we will move to by functions. In by functions, you can see here the function takes one input and one output, but by functions take two inputs and one output. There are two inputs, t and u. In apply abstract method, there are two inputs and one return value. Okay, so these first two represents the inputs and last represent the output. Now we have the by function, multifunction, taking two inputs, performing multiplication over these values, and this is the uses of multifunction. We are using the apply method because apply is the abstract method of by function. So using apply, we are passing 10 and 25 and multiplying it, it should return 250. So here we go, we are getting 250. So now we can also perform by function chaining. By function chaining, the one thing that needs to notify here, in multifunction there is one chaining method, that is and then. It is not taking by function as input, rather than it is taking only function as input. So this needs to be understand. Multifunction dot and, so this is the definition or implementation of function functional interface. The function functional interface, how you can get to know, use Alt Enter and replace it to anonymous class. You will see here we are just implementing the functional interface, and this is the abstract method apply, and we are just increasing the number by 10 and returning it. Now let me move back to the lambda expression. Here what we are doing, multifunction will perform apply operation with 20 and 30 first, and whatever result it get from multifunction, that is 600, and after 600 it will become the input of this functional interface, and the 60 we are adding 600 we are adding 10, so it will become 610. Okay, so that's why we have 610 here. So this is the BiFunction chaining operation. Now let's move to BiConsumer. The BiConsumer, let's move to this definition. The BiConsumer, there are two inputs and nothing as a output. It's similar to the consumer. But the consumer having only one input but void as a output. So as the name suggests, Bi takes two inputs. Now here's the example of show multi. Here we are taking num1 num2 as a input in a BiConsumer and just multiplying it and printing it. Because BiConsumer is not supposed to return anything, we are multiplying it and just printing it without returning. So show multi, so this is the abstract method accept 10 20, so it should be 200 after this execution of show multi BiConsumer, that is multi 200. In the second case we have the show addition, similar kind of BiConsumer, num1 num2 and add, is adding it. Here we can see we are passing 10 20, 10 plus 20 is 30. Now we move to BiConsumer chaining operation. So and then is the chaining operation of BiConsumer. As a definition, it takes as a BiConsumer input. So now we will pass show multi is the BiConsumer. Now we are calling add then method and passing the show addition, another BiConsumer. Dot accept and 20 and 30. We are calling this abstract method. What will happen here? First show multi will call accept with 20 and 30 value. The show multi is supposed to multiply the value and print that value. So 30 into 20 should be 600. So multi 600 is executing. And now show addition will be called on the same values. So show addition will do 10 plus 20. 20 plus 30. It should return addition of them 50. So this is working as per the definition of this. And then the similar thing is happening here. First show multi accept is getting called, then show addition accept will be called. So the conclusion is predicates actually takes one input and supposed to return one Boolean value. On the other hand, Bi predicates, as the name suggests Bi, it takes two input and supposed to return one Boolean value. And in case of function, it takes one input and return one output of any type. But in case of BiFunction, it takes two inputs t and u and return r as a return value of any type. Now moving to consumer, the consumer, as name suggests, only takes one input and return nothing, because as the name suggests, consumers just consumes but nothing supposed to return. In case of BiConsumer, similar to consumer that accepts one value or one input returning nothing, the BiConsumer receiving two values and returning nothing. Now moving to supplier. Supplier is supposed to return something. It doesn't take any input. So as the name suggests, supplier is supposed to return. So till now we have covered consumer interface, what is supplier interface, and all the BiOperational interfaces and with its chaining operations with couple of coding examples. We have also get to know all those Java 8 predefined functional interfaces available in one slide. Thank you for watching. If you like this video, please share and subscribe. We'll meet you in the next video. Thank you.